Good day, everybody watching. Welcome to the Dow Academy presentation. We're going to have a lesson on dictionary meanings. My name is Mr. Kapengwe. I hope you're going to enjoy this lesson. In the first instance, we're going to talk about dictionary meaning. We know that we use the dictionary many times and we find meanings of words depending on the word you're looking for in a dictionary. But particularly today, we're going to look at words that are used in different contexts. So dictionary meaning is a part of the syllabus that we do in our examinations at Standard 7, and sometimes we can call Standard 7 Grade 7. It's the same Grade 7 and Standard 7 depending on which part of the world you are in. So dictionary meaning is interesting, but you need to understand what you need to get the words from, or you need to understand the words that you are going to use in the sentences that are given, and the words must be understood as used in the context. So this is what we're going to do today. So I want you to pay attention and see how far we can go with our lesson. In the first place, if you check on my board here, I have the word line that is used, and the word line is described in different ways. On number 1 here, it's described as a noun. Number 2 is described as a noun. It goes on up to number 4, and then on number 5 things change. We have the word line used as a verb. Now we all know that we need to understand what these means, nouns and verbs, and quickly we can go through to say a noun is a naming word, which we know very well. A noun names a thing, a place, and it's the simplest that anyone can relate to. Then we can also look at a verb. A verb is a word that shows action in a sentence. So the word line has been used both as a noun and as a verb. So it depends on what the examiner wants to find out from you, or what the examiner wants you to classify. This is what we're going to do today. So the word line can also be used as an adjective depending on the context in which the sentence is given. So today basically we're looking at this one, the word line as a noun. And first of all, when we are tackling this type of questions, we need to understand first of all how the word has been used and the description of the word as written or as printed down here. So the first one, the description says a noun is a long mark usually on a paper or a field. Okay, so the word line is described as a noun, and the words a long mark usually on a paper or on a field describes the line. All right, we can move on to the next one. The next one says a mark like a line on the skin. All right, so maybe it's a bruise, you are playing the bushes and then you scratch yourself, so that can be also a line. Then number 3 says a long piece of string or rope. All right, so we can associate this presentation or this description to a line that we use in our homes. When we wash our clothes, we can make a line and put our clothes there to dry out in the sun. Then we can move on to the 5th one. All right, let's go back to the 4th one, which I almost skipped. A queue or a row of people or things one after the other. You want to get your money from the ATM, you want to go to the clinic, you want to go to the hospital, or you are queuing up somewhere, you find a line of people standing, waiting to be served. So that's what it means there. Then here we have this one here, which says it's described as a verb. Yes, the word line is used as a verb. So it says to cover the inside or the sides or edges of something. So that's how the word has been used. All right, so we come to the 6th one. It's the last but not the least, of course. We have this one which says a row of printed or written words, usually on a piece of paper, probably in a magazine or so. So this is what you need to understand, okay? So you need to understand this first of all before you actually attempt your questions. So let's go back and think about what we said. We said a noun is a naming word, and it has been used in this context. A noun can also be a verb as used in this context. So we are here to find the meanings of the word line as used in the sentence. So what is going to guide us is this table that we have here. Okay, so the description of the word line in different ways should suit the sentence that is given. That's how we get to work out which one is our answer. I'll start with the first one. The first one says, my grandmother's face has lines and wrinkles. All right? So this is common. As you grow old, you are likely to have wrinkles, isn't it? Wrinkles are the folds that people have on their faces. We have wrinkles in our face, on our faces. We also can have wrinkles on our skin. So my grandmother's face has lines and wrinkles. If you check the word lines here, it's highlighted, okay? Meaning there's an emphasis here. So when you check which meaning is the same as the word lines used in sentence 1, we can go back to our table. Our table says, meaning 1 says a long mark usually on a paper or on a field. But if we relate this to number 1, there's no correspondence there, because this is talking about the grandmother's face and the lines and the wrinkles. So it has to do with something that we need to look for. Okay, so look at number 2. Number 2 says a mark like a line on the skin. All right, so we know that the face has a skin. So our answer in this case is going to be meaning 2. That's how we get our answer when we are doing dictionary meanings. All right. So wherever you are, I think when you've got this cue that I've showed you. When we go to question 2, I'm sure that you can also attempt to figure it out which one is the correct answer. So we have number 2 saying, the box was lined with soft paper to protect the glasses inside. All right. So how often do we do this? Does anyone relate to a situation or an instance when you line a box with paper? Probably when you are moving house, when you are shifting from one house to another, when you are packing your things, you can put glasses wrapped in newspapers and then, you get moving. So we are looking for which word or which set of words here is related to number 2. Number 2 says the box was lined with soft paper to protect the glasses. Let's go to meaning 2. Let's go to meaning 2. Meaning 2 says a mark or a line on the skin. This one we are done with it, or we are finished with it. Let me say that. So let's go to this one. We can say a box was lined with soft paper to protect the glasses. Let's look at number 4. A queue or a row of people or things one after the other. It doesn't make sense at all. So this one, we skip it. We come to this one here. 5, the line as a verb used to cover the inside or sides of edges of something. So our answer there will be meaning 2. And then we can quickly go to 3. Line up children, the teacher ordered. Okay, children are going for break and maybe you are helping. You are maybe an intern at the Dow Academy, or you are a visitor in that school trying to help. So when the class teacher says line up the children, what are you looking at in this case? So you can say, you can look at this. The first one doesn't qualify. You can move on. Meaning 4 says a queue, a row of people or things one after the other. So you actually have to think about this one. So 4 is the correct answer in this case, meaning 4. Then the fourth one, how many lines are in this paragraph? A paragraph or any text that is written in a book always has lines. As the paragraph progresses, there are lines there. So here we go. So which one will qualify in this case? So we can go to meaning 2, which doesn't make sense. We can go to meaning 3, which says a long string or rope, and it doesn't make sense as well. So which one are we going to relate to? So we can go to meaning 6, a row of printed or written words, and that's the answer that you're going to get. And then finally, we go to the last one. Mr. Piri hung the wet clothes on the washing line after washing clothes. Remember, I think I explained this to say we can wash our clothes and put them on a line for them to dry out there in the open. So which one is the correct meaning? So we can move on to look at this. So this table basically guides you on which answer you are going to fit in every question that you require. But at the same time, you need to be very careful because sometimes you can mismatch. The way the way that has been used can be mismatched to these and you get your answer wrong. So here we go. What did Mr. Piri do after washing his clothes? What did he do? We can look around here. The printed words do not apply. To cover the inside does not apply. We've used it, in fact, however, we can go back and then see which one can we use. So I'll go to number 3, a long string, a long piece of string or rope. And indeed, when you use that one, you can use it to make sure that your clothes are actually dry and out there in the open. So the same word line has been used in another context. I hope you're able to see clearly, but this is the same word. We have just continued and we've gone to another stage where it should be easy now for you to actually see how the words have been used. So remember, I told you the word noun, the word line can be used as a noun and as a verb, and can also be used as an adjective. We'll go further and see how it can be used as an adjective. So in this case, it's used as a transport company. Number 2, as a telephone connection. Number 3, as a path. A path is a small, a small kind of, a path is a small footpath, or I can describe it as a place where people walk most of the time, and then as they walk along that place, the grass actually erodes away and you have something clear. That's what a path is. Okay. So on number 4 it says make a mark to show where something ends. Okay. And then 5, to cover the inside of something. On 6, to form rows along the sides of something. This one is similar to the one we used previously, but let's see how we're going to answer these questions. The first question says, my daughter wants a private line in her bedroom. What does she really want when you think about it? My daughter wants a private line. So if you look at number 1, is it realistic to have a transport company in a bedroom? What would she be doing? A vehicle cannot move in a bedroom, so this one does not qualify. The second one says a telephone connection. So this one applies because in a home there are people who actually have telephone lines in their homes in different rooms. So the correct answer is meaning 2. We can go to meaning 3. We can go to second question. It says bakers line baking sheets with paper to avoid burnt bread. This is common and people do it often when they bake. Okay? When they bake in their homes, they make sure that they line the pans, their baking tins with paper. So which one would qualify there? So we can go down and search to cover the inside of something, to make a mark, to form rows along the sides of something. So you can, if you look at this one, the correct answer should be 5, which is meaning 5 here, to cover the inside of something. All right, then we can go to number 3. The shipping line is losing money. You have a company that ships products from one continent to the other. Now, because of the weather, maybe the ships are not able to sail. And because they are not able to sail on the ocean, what happens? There's business that is affected, and then they are making a loss. So we can say, which one do we qualify? It's a transport company. Definitely goes to 1 as your answer choice. Then we can move on to the next one. He was so confused because he could not find the right line in the bush. All right. Now, you can relate to say, walking in the bush is not as easy as it seems, especially if you're not familiar with the terrain in that bush. If you're not familiar with the area in that bush, you are bound to get lost. So when you say he was confused because he could not find the right line in the bush, what is that person actually looking for? That person is actually looking for a path. That's what he's looking for. So that's a giveaway also. So the meaning there is meaning 3. So dictionary meanings are interesting, and we can actually practice a lot of dictionary meanings even by looking up for words in a dictionary. You discover to say that once you open a page in a dictionary, you can find one word used in different contexts. And it's very important to understand to say they'll be used as a noun, sometimes they can be used as a verb, sometimes they can be used as an adverb, sometimes they can be used as an adjective. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of our lesson, where we have now the word weak. If you are feeling weak, it means you don't have energy to do what you are supposed to be doing. Maybe you are sick and you are recovering. You can't stand up. You need help when you get up. So that's what weak means. So the word weak has been used in different ways. And on my table here, the word weak is used first of all as a verb, or number 2 is used as a verb, number 3 as an adjective, number 4 same as an adjective, and so forth until the 7th part. So the first one says easy to influence. If you are weak, you can be easily influenced, meaning peer pressure. Your friends can tell you something because you can't make your own decisions. They can easily influence you. It means you are weak, basically. Not very good at something. It means you are weak. You can't play well. You can't play soccer well, or you can't do something very well according to the expected standards. So you can be described as weak. The next one, not strong enough to work, below standard, not strong in test, not strong enough to last long, not easy to believe. Now, in this case, for example, I have a lot of interest in this one, which is not strong in test. All right. So if you make a juice, or you make juice for your brother or anybody visiting home, and if you put a lot of water, it won't taste very sweet. So you describe that as the juice that you made was weak. Okay. So here are some questions that we're going to go through and see how far we can go. The first one says his performance in the competition was weak. All right? His performance in the competition was weak. So what do they really mean? And if you check, the word weak is highlighted. Like I said last time, why is the word highlighted? Because they are putting emphasis on the way the word has been used in this sentence, in this context. So this dictionary meaning has to match with one description that is in this box. So here we go. his performance in the competition was weak. So meaning one says easy to influence. Does that make sense to you? No. We come to this one. Not very good at something, not strong at work, not strong enough to work, below standard, not strong in test, not strong enough to last long, and not easy to believe. Which one would be the correct one? If you check number one, meaning easy to influence, that one does not qualify. All right, because meaning, if you use easy to influence, you are relating to influence that somebody gives to somebody by changing their mind or making them understand things in a different way. So this one does not qualify. Meaning two, not very good at something, okay? Then you might find you are now struggling between these two. Not very good at something, not strong enough to work. So when you check these two, if you're not very careful, you might pick this one, but it's actually not correct, all right? So you go for meaning two, which is his performance in the competition was weak, meaning he was not good at something that he was doing, all right? So we can move on to the next one. She likes weak tea. All right, so remember what the example I gave about making a cold drink or juice for somebody with a lot of water. She likes weak tea. So the answer will be not strong in taste. So it will be meaning 5. Then we can move on to the next one. Simon is weak in mathematics. Okay, his performance is not good. He has written a couple of tests and he hasn't done well. So if Simon is weak in mathematics, what does it mean? He is not strong enough to work. He can write. If he can write, it means he's strong enough, isn't it? But the weakness we are talking about has to do with the mental ability of Simon. So in this case, how is Simon performing? So Simon is weak in mathematics. We can say he is below standard. Compared to his peers in the classroom, he hasn't done very well. We can move on to the next one. The boy is too weak to dig a pit latrine. Interesting. If the boy is too weak to dig the pit latrine, what does that mean? It means he's not strong enough. He doesn't have the energy to dig the pit latrine, because digging takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of effort, and probably this person is too young to do this laborious kind of work. So that's what it means. All right, we are coming to the last part of our lesson, but we can still try out this one. This one is also interesting. It's talking about dictionary meaning, and I deliberately left out the word that we are talking about today, the word that we are discussing. So the word I'm talking about or discussing today is the word raw, R-O-L-L. Okay, so it is used as a noun, it is used as a verb. So the first sentence says, something has been turned around, something that has been turned around itself in a round shape like a tube. The second meaning says, a small loaf of bread for one person. The third one says, a list of names. It's a row. Okay. The fourth one, a long deep sound. The example given, the sound of thunder or a drum. That's a roll, drum roll. When somebody does well, you beat the drums to encourage them, isn't it? So the fifth one, to move somewhere by turning in a circular direction, or to make something move this way. That's what the word is described as. Verb, down, in, off, to move somewhere smoothly. That's rolling also. Verb, to make the shape of a ball or a tube, to make something shorter. And then we have these last two. One's eye, to show surprise by moving one's eyes up. When you see something unbelievable, people roll their eyes often, isn't it? Most of them is now habitual, but people roll their eyes sometimes to disapprove or to show surprise, and it's often you see people do that. especially nowadays. Then the ninth one says, being informal, to be very much rich. Oh, wow, it's interesting. So this is how the word raw has been described. It has been described this way, but we have sentences that we can relate to, and these sentences are important. You need to relate the sentence and the word raw and the description that is given. So it's very easy for you to get marks, because this part of the exercises are important, because every mark that you score in a test, in an exercise, counts. So the first one says they ordered 7 dozen rolls for the Independence Party. Okay, it's interesting. When you have a party, people buy things, they go out on shopping sprees to buy whatever they will require, isn't it? So there's a party coming and you order dozens of rolls. What are those you are ordering? Because we know we can make hot dogs using rolls, bread rolls. So here we go, let's look for something. And there's a party, we're talking about a party, isn't it? So everyone is invited, and this is food we're talking about. So they ordered 7 dozen rolls for the party, for the Independence Party. So here we go, we have these meanings. Something that has been turned around itself into a round shape, no. A list of names, no. But how about a small loaf of bread for one person? So the answer is actually meaning 2. All right. So that maybe the rolls that were ordered were for making hot dogs or whatever they wanted to make. We come to the next one. Because he left the handbrake off, the car started rolling into a ditch. All right, we know very well what a handbrake is. We've seen our parents drive cars, isn't it? So a handbrake makes the car stop in a positioned way, in a stable way, and usually when a car stops, drivers usually pull the handbrake up so that they secure the vehicle. All right, so because he left the handbrake off, the car started rolling into a ditch. So we go back to our table and see which description is the same as this one. So we have passed these 2, but we can go on to the other ones. A long deep sound of thunder. Okay, this one will not relate. This one should be related to maybe weather patterns. To move somewhere by turning in a circular direction, I do not agree. And then I can give you a challenge to check these 3, these 4, check these 4 down. Down, off, move somewhere smoothly, make a shape of a ball, one's eyes, and inform. So 6, 7, 8, and 9, the best answer would be verb. The word raw used as a verb. To move somewhere smoothly. So the answer there, if you check, is 6, definition 6 is the correct answer. All right. So next, he just rolled over in bed when he heard the thunder. All right. So here we go. What are we looking at? We are looking at meaning 4. All right. Meaning 4. Because of the thunder, the sound of the thunder made him roll in bed. So we can see that it's described here, a long deep sound. All right, it woke him up, and I'm sure he got startled and woke up. Finally, we've come to the last one. The roar of the dead people's, let me read this again. The roar of dead people increase every day of the war. Okay, interesting. What are we talking about? There is war, and when there is war, we know that people die during wars. So the roar of dead people increase every day of the war. Wow. So let's look at this. What does this word raw mean? Here we go back to our table, and we have bread. Is it talking about bread? No. Is it talking about something that has turned around itself? Definitely no. But we can settle for a list of names, the victims, people who succumbed to the war, people who died in the war. So this is our answer. So it should be meaning 3 as the answer for this question. All right. So dictionary meanings are interesting basically because you actually have a guide, and the guide is usually the table where the word has been used and described. Now, when the word has been used and described in the table, our duty as learners is to actually find the matching description, and that matching description, you must relate it well to the sentence that is used. You also need to look out for the word that has been used, and usually the word is highlighted. Why is the word highlighted? It is highlighted so that you don't miss anything out of that. So it's very important to read the table first of all before you attempt the questions. But sometimes you also are going to be lucky because the sentences can actually give away the answers themselves because they are in a simple form. So I'd like to encourage you to actually take time to check some of these words in the dictionary. It's not always that one word will only mean one thing. Depending on the context the word has been used, you can use one word for different meanings depending on the context. The word can be used, one word can be used as a noun, one can be used as a verb, the same word can be used as an adjective depending on the context. So I hope you enjoyed yourself and had a nice time during this lesson. I would like to say that the lesson ends here, and thank you for paying attention and hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.